105.5 WDHA. It's Jim Monaghan with you on this Sunday morning. My next guest needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. He's been a fixture on the local music scene for years with his band Stone Caravan. Joe Durso, good morning and welcome to WDHA.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jim. Thanks for making time for me.
You're very welcome. What I want to specifically talk to you about is the Light of Day shows this year. There's an amazing lineup that's been put together, and you are a big part of this, my friend.
Yeah, we started this 22 years ago, really. Actually, a little bit longer. There was a concert that Bob was my manager he was managing myself and Joe Grishecki. And in 98, he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. So he put together a little event in Red Bank. It wasn't called Light of Day yet, and Bobby Bandiera had played. I got up, did a few songs. We raised a couple of $1,000. And then in 2000, we did the first one at the Pony. Grishecki and the House Rockers, me and Stone Caravan. I think Willie Nile might have been there, maybe Murrah. And that was the first time Bruce stopped by. And then, as you know, it's just grown over the years to not just, the 40-something shows of WinterFest now, but we're in Canada. I just came back from 15 shows in 10 countries in Europe.
Wow.
Doing Light of Day Europe. So it's in Australia. So it's really grown from this little Jersey thing to boom.
What was the impetus that really took the organization Light of Day off, Joe?
Well, having Bruce show that first year, you can't, sometimes we lose, when I say we, Jersey Shore or music fans, the enormity of his popularity. As I was telling you earlier, I worked in that camp as a kid, typing up contracts for Bruce for his live performances. And when you start traveling around the world, when you get out of our little area, and I've told this to Bruce, like when I was trying to book certain Light of Day shows, there was a lot of people aware of that from the circle, but people who didn't know what was going on, and like, songwriters for Parkinson's, what's going on? I said, oh yeah, Bruce helps us out in New Jersey. Oh, okay. We're done. So I tell him I don't drop the B word until I need it. I'm very respectful, but so that, I think Bruce being involved, I always call him the patron saint of Light of Day. He's never been advertised. We've never once had his name on a ticket, but he's been, I think, on the main event 13 out of 22 times as a surprise guest. So if you want to add up what that would really be in fees in the real world, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Joe Durso, my guest here at 105.5 WDHA. There are a number of shows. I believe there are 100 different artists spread out of over 14 different venues, and there are a couple of shows that immediately stand out to me. And one is with the great John Waite, who I just had on a few weeks ago. What an incredible talent, that voice, Joe. Just incredible.
It hasn't left him. I was talking with his agent the other day, and I said, I have no idea what he did over the years to hold on to that voice, but he still has it. And he's headlining that bill, and that bill is, what we do every year for people who haven't been to Light of Day, and it's usually at the Paramount. This is the second year at the Count Basie since there's structural issues at the Paramount. And the Basie is such an amazing theater, is we have an acoustic act in front of the curtain. Curtain rises, a band comes out, hits it for 20 minutes hard, curtain drops, another acoustic act, and this goes on for hours. It's how much music can you jam in to a 4-hour bill? And fans, people buy tickets, they come back every year to see it. So as far as the bands going this year, besides John Waite, you got Joe Grishecki and the House Rockers, Willie Nile, Dave House and the Mermaid. Dave is from Philly. Jesse Malin, the Weaklings, myself and Stone Caravan, and Fantastic Cat, which is kind of a new super band of songwriters. And then in between all that, it's Adam Ezra, Williams Honor. Who else is in there? Jill Hennessy, Jeffrey Gaines, Ben Arnold. So we got some pretty incredible people on the bill this year. Probably a few more than I'm forgetting, too.
It is quite a lineup. And there's another show that stood out as well, and it happens at Outpost in the Burbs in Montclair. It's the Songwriters in the Round. And there's a name, Joe, that I keep hearing in New Jersey music circles that pops up again and again. His name is Jake Thistle, the kid from Paramus that you and I were talking about off air a little bit. Tell me about him.
So, as I was saying earlier, I first, Jake popped onto my radar when he was 12 or 13. And he had done some show for some Bruce fans over in England. I'm like, who's this kid going to England at 12 years old? And he would send me some stuff, and I'd see him. He was a little, cherub, little kid with a guitar. And then as he got a little bit older, I started getting him involved in some Why Hunger. Besides Light of Day, I'm also on the board of Why Hunger. I've been with them for 30, 25 years, whatever. And so I started getting him involved in some shows. And we just did a show in my barn. I'm in Bergen County, and it was myself and Willie Nile and Jen Chapin. It was supposed to be Tom Chapin, but Tom had gotten ill that day. I had Broadway composer Neil Berg and his wife Rita Harvey, who was in Phantom of the Opera and a few other musicals. And then Jake opened the show on piano and acoustic. So I've been throwing him into the fire with some like heavy hitters, and he responds. People love him. He's a great kid. Voice, songs, it's all there, and it's just going to come from 18 years old. You have we live in a society now where when I was growing up, there was something called record companies had something called artist development. And you had 2 or 3 records to get your stuff in order. Now if you don't have it there on the first record, they drop you. So you almost have to do your own artist development before it's time, or they expect you to be ready at 18. If that was the case, Frampton never comes out of humble pie.
No.
Bruce never gets to Born to Run. Billy Joel never gets to The Stranger. So it's a whole different world now, and it's tough for kids, but he's good. And what I love about this kid is that his songwriting heroes are the John Hyatts of the world, the Jackson Browns, Tom Petty. It's old school, yet he's very aware of new school.
And there's another show that you're involved in a bunch of them, but there's another one that you're involved in. It's pretty rare for you because it's a night of covers. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have a tough act to follow when Kaminsky and I are in front of you.
I do see you and Tom. I love the name of that band, by the way, Dead Aire, for a bunch of DJs.
Exactly.
I think, as I was saying earlier, this is one of my favorite shows that I get to do each year. I'm just going to pull up the lineup here. Is because, for all the years I've been with Stone Caravan, we started off as an original band. And the only reason was because I didn't know how to play other people's songs when I first started. I literally learned how to play guitar. And I realized from day one that if I wrote my own songs and then play them, no matter how bad they were, there was nothing to measure it against. So someone would say, oh, all right, whatever. But if I was trying to play like, Rosalita, and it was awful, they're like, oh, that's horrible. So that's how I started only writing originals, and things got going. And then I came back to covers later on. So this is the one time a year. We got you and Dead Aire kicking it off. Me and Caravan, Kenny K, me and Bobby D. And then we're wrapping that night up with Freddie and the Phantoms from Copenhagen, Denmark, who are flying in to do a few shows at Light of Day this year. They've been dear partners and friends for us in Copenhagen. We just had a great night there a few weeks ago, which feels like a year ago already.
Well, I can't wait to catch up with you. For WDHA listeners who want to learn more about Joe and Stone Caravan, that website is jdcaravan.com, and you can find out all the details on all of the Light of Day shows online at lightofday.org. Joe, great catching up with you, and I'll see you soon at one of the Light of Day shows.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the help on Light of Day.